Hello folks, I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today we're taking a look at the novel Blood of Heroes by Andrew Keith, who is the younger brother of William H. Keith Jr., who wrote the first 3 novels for the BattleTech series that we've already looked at for you. And according to his Wikipedia page, he also helped on Mercenaries Star as well. He died in the late 90s at about the age of 40, so he died pretty young. I'm 45, so he died before I turned 45, so I'm older than he is. So anyway, but we'll take a look at Blood of Heroes, which is one of my favorite novels when I was growing up, reading this first of the Rock series of stuff that was published for it. So I figured I'd go back and take a look at it. Now, I was traveling for an interview for a job at Marshall University in Huntington, so which is about an hour away from my family in Point Pleasant. So I was going back there and reviewing it. So I got up that morning, went to the hotel. Went to the airport rather. At the airport, I read about 40 pages, read about another 50 pages on the airplane to Charlotte, then read another hour in Charlotte, then spent about another, so I probably knocked out about another 80 pages in the airport and on the airplane from Charlotte to Huntington. And then I got out, and so I was going back to the hotel having read 170 pages. And then after I met with my family and had some dinner and some ice cream in a place called Austin's, then afterwards I went to home and I knocked out 90 pages. Then I watched an episode of the news from 9 to 10. And then from 10 to 11, I knocked out another few pages. So by the time I was done, I knocked out about 250 pages, all but about 90 pages. And then the next day, Thursday, was my interview. So I didn't do anything until I got home to the hotel at about 7 o'clock or so forth. And then for about 2 hours prior to the news, I read the last 90 pages of Blood of Heroes and knocked it out in basically 2 days. Most of it on Wednesday, but then part of it on Thursday. Then after I did that, I knocked out 40 pages of main event because I was still in that mood, and so I knocked out about 130 pages total of BattleTech that day. Again, this was one of my favorite novels. This is the 4th novel in the Grey Death series. The Grey Death series is a mercenary unit that was founded in the first novel. They had their first mission in the second novel, and they're a couple of years into their campaign in the 3rd novel. So they have progressed, and now it's 1956. Melissa Steiner has died. It has caused a lot of big waves in the Lyrian Confederation, and now the very independently minded, that we've been told many times and we've had many things, Free Sky movement is now declaring itself independent. So the planet of Glengarry, which is the home planet of the free, of the Free Worlds League. Nope, that's not it. The home planet of the Great Death Legion, the mercenary unit. That's our point of view characters. Of this stuff has now left the Federated Commonwealth, and so now what are they going to do? And so that's basically telling this story is basically telling the Glengarry campaign of what's happening up till a certain point, and then it ends with I'm not a big fan of the ending. I feel like it doesn't give it enough justice. I do like how detailed some of the aerospace fights are done. Oftentimes aerospace battle royals are not done as well as this one. Anyway, they chose to strike at this time because the CO and the XO, Grayson and Laurie, are off on Tharkad, many jumps away from Glengarry, and about half of the regiment is off World 2, helping out another unit called the Black Thorns in the Federated Commonwealth. So therefore, they're open and available to be attacked, right? So this is probably the best time, right, to launch an attack on Glengarry, and then we're going to have the Glengarry campaign of this independence movement, and then that's it. That's the series of 4 books that ends in this one, and by Andrew J. Keith, again the younger brother of William H. Keith, who had originally written the first 3 books, and it has a lot of the same characters, although it does introduce Alexander Karlov, a son, the scion, and oldest born son of the 2 Grey Death Legions of Lorien, her husband, Grayson, and now the person who's going to be taking the future of the unit. He starts out as a cadet. So he'll be the primary point of view character for the novel and this campaign. Again, I try to keep my reviews spoiler free in case you're relatively new to this channel. So again, we can talk about spoilers in the comments below if you want to do that. BattleTech is a universe with a lot of different IPs. It has video games, it's got board games, it's got the war game that started it, it's got the role-playing game called Mech Warrior, right? It's got a Saturday morning cartoon, so there's a lot of different ways you might have heard of it. But if you haven't heard about it, basically, the key concept is that we're now about 1,000 years in the future in the 31st century, and we have explored and expanded and colonized thousands of planets and systems, but unfortunately, we are no closer to finding intelligent life out there than we have. So we've taken all of our best parts of us and all of our worst parts with us. We're just as antagonistic towards each other in the future as we are today. So we still see war as a valuable option. So for about 300 years, under something called the Star League, we were united. Everybody was together, and everybody was working together and exploring and helping each other out, and creating this interconnected economy. And then the Star League fell after it was taken over by Amaris, and then there was a coup by Amaris, and then General Alexander takes it out. And he begins to see the beginning of weapons of mass destruction that are getting used. And he's like, nope, that's not us. And so he leaves most of the forces, and he flees beyond the periphery. And then there are 5 successor states that vie for, you know, the top dog and become, you know, sort of the new Star League. And so there are 4 succession wars that also use weapons, mass destruction, particularly the first 2, and push us towards more and more of a dark age. Now we're hundreds of years later after the fall of the Star League in this dark age, and then the descendants of Kerensky, called the clans, they're set up as the clans by his son Nicholas. They return and invading us, taking us out in order to take Terra and then become the Ill Clan and then rule over everything. So they're basically looking to restart the Star League 2. And so now we're into the clan invasion. After years into the invasion, it's in 55 and 56 as these books are taking place. And there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read Blood of Heroes? I'm giving this probably a 7 out of 10, maybe a 7 plus, like a 7.2 or 7.3. Yeah, 7 plus. It's a lot of fun to read. It's definitely very gripping. Actually, so I knocked it out in 2 days, most of it in 1 day. So I enjoyed it a whole lot. So we'll go ahead and give it a 7 plus out of 10. And so there you go. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, or anything else by Andrew J. Keith that you might have read. If you enjoyed this video, hey, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.